Dams destroyed the old world in the 1900s, all over the world. Buildings that don't fit in with the mainstream narrative. Towns that were so out of place, and human remains. Missouri, the Lake of the Ozarks, where more than 20 towns, villages, and settlements were permanently flooded to create the lake. Now saying that the actual number was closer to 8, where we all know that it's more than 20. We just saw that, including Irontown, Gladstown, Lynn Creek, Sagrada, Zebra, Arnold's Mill, Passover, and so many more, including Stoutsville, located in Monroe County, Victor. We have the names of these towns. Even another town named Florida was flooded. The supposed location that Mark Twain was born, all of it was submerged. It's underwater right now, and it was not just 8 towns, not even close. A massive lie yet again. Submerged and destroyed by the Bagnall Dam in 1931. With structures like this being submerged, the Phantom Steeple Church, located in a town called Old Lynn Creek, which is now, of course, underwater. This man-made lake was formed between 1929 and 1931, the exact years that we've been talking about, creating a 1,100-mile shoreline. All for some power and recreation. Or do you think that it was for something else? The Missouri Dragon is a reservoir created by impounding the Osage River in the northern part of the Ozarks with an average depth of 60 to 70 feet, where we have proof, in my opinion, that this dam was created to destroy the old world and hide what was once there. This was not just some farmland and a few ducks. This was a destruction project, just like we've seen multiple times, where we are all told that before the old town of Lynn Creek was abandoned to the rising lake in the early months of 1931, most of its 100-plus old world buildings, they were all razed, destroyed. Now, why would they destroy all of the buildings if they were just going to submerge them anyway? Did they just show us the true reason for this dam? Burning, as we've seen so many times. Burning the Christian and Baptist churches with their bell towers, old world healing bells, with the stonemasonry structures being knocked down. Why would they do this? Why would they destroy it all if they're just going to sink it? If they just needed to make a dam for some power, why would they go out of their way to ruin all of these structures? It's very clear. They were destroying the old world and needed an excuse to destroy a massive amount of old world buildings. So many buildings that they could never find another excuse to destroy besides sinking them for power and recreation, just like we're seeing right here. You can even see that there's so many old world buildings, they couldn't even submerge them all, calling this one the Tonka Castle, saying that they built this in the early 1900s. And it was, of course, no hesitation at all from the mainstream narrative, destroyed by a fire in 1942. Just 10 years after the dam submerged all of the other old world buildings. We also know that this is a stone structure. Fires don't burn stone to the ground, which is exactly why you put stone around your fire pits. You have stone and brick fireplaces in your house. All of your neighbors don't seem to mind because they're not going anywhere from a fire. Telling us that this place is haunted, of course. We've gone over this as well. Basically just trying to keep everybody away from the old world buildings and to change the narrative about it. I'm not saying that there's no hauntings. I'm just saying that it's a good excuse to keep most people away. A lot of people don't like to hear that the place is haunted. They're not going to just go wandering over there on a walk. Supposedly built in 1905 by Robert Snyder, where he's dead in 1906. 1 year later, and the castle was completed by the Sons. What do you know? If you've seen all of the episodes at this point, we all know about the Sons. These are classic nods. We know about the fires. It's everything that we've covered We know about the supposed builders dying during the construction projects. This is a classic story that we've all heard so many times. I believe this is a fake story. You can always believe whatever you'd like, but if you are new, and if you go back after this episode and watch the entire series, every single time that I mention this exact same story from years ago, I believe you're going to be shocked. So if this is the building that we find on a cliff, unable to be submerged, needing to destroy it in 1942 with a supposed fire, with no mention of who and how it burned a stone building to the ground, then what else do you think is under all that water? Lake of the Ozarks, an incredible site for our research. And we are, of course, just getting started. Welcome to episode 142 of My Lunch Break. I hope you're all having a great day. And if you're new, welcome. I want to thank all of our sponsors over on Patreon. Thank you to FlatEarthDave.com. You can check out his app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac app. I'll put the link right in the description. And you can use my referral code, MLB. If you click the Tartaria button, you'll see the My Lunch Break playlist right here. The app is awesome. Thank you to Rebecca Kay, David and Sherry Ferguson, Chuck Templeton, Joy Lee, Stephanie Nolan, the Burlesons, Edwin Rice, Charles Kruger, Dan Woodall, Dale, DJ Clicktrack, Jacob Law, Jim Ribley and Christine Duggan, Kyle Glasscock, BKTFnews.org, Ben Dries NL, Natalie Shippenoff, Melissa Edgar, Biggles, Clayton Lamar, Double Task Homestead, John Adams, Robert Zozolins, Attila Power, Forbidden Gecko Love, Justin Grobner Grubb, Leah Strong, Dakota Dunn, Jason Hochberg, Marie C., Michael Dingyu, Patriot Armory, C3SCOB, Jeffrey Temple, SonyaDane.com, James Alt, Bucksui, Jason Press, Suki Warrior, Miggs, Mark Chapman, Muji and DeClan, Ariana Oates, Nathan Burbuck, Ski, Beacon of Truth, Liberty's Arborist, Thomas Thorpe Peterson, Zinger Coffee and Tea, EvelynMcGregor.com, Emily Maryland, Curious Cat, Mike D, etc., Dan McGee, Lori Hedvig Johnson, Ellie Annie, Seth Craigo, Glenn Gunderson, Mousie's Mouse Cheese Records, Robert's Brain is Gone, Extreme Reality Check, Late for Dinner, Eolo Goncalves, Blake, William Richard Jeffries V, Dax Bilchek and Son, Dylan Mugenberg, Leonard Insalacro, Robert Petro, Katz Hill, Susie Q, Yark 143, GOL, Doc Halo, Kenneth Putt, Brenna Fernandez, Paraduction, Necrodemonics, A&W Kerrigan, Rod Wah, Sweetest of Peas, Corbin Mechanical, Buck, VKH Bonner, Breaking Bigfoot, Road Warrior, Bruce Latour, Codrenth, David and Irene, Ivan Apoctoli, Ardra Rogers, Brazawayan, Armin Walker, Ivan Apoctoli, Kinda Classy, Kinda Chola, Maybell, When He Set a Compass Upon the Face of the Depth, Laurel L. Burnett, Hoppy John, D. Woods, John and Carlo, Bill, Vince Moreno, Flat Earth Herbs, The Lady Lacey Show, Sven Eric, Ducks, MDF TFV, Annika Joyce, The Arnolds, Henry's Mom, Gabriel Spark, Pat Renard, D. Hamur, Harvey, Brittany Hill, Bradford's Donkey Wagon Deluxe, Erniho, Brian Whitaker, Trevor Cashin, David Torres, Lucy, Tiba Shaba in the Darkness. You guys are all awesome and helping this channel out a lot. Since the towns were all flooded, they were all dismantled before they let the water in. You're not going to see anything. This is exactly why they destroyed it all before submerging it. It's clear as day. There's no question about it. They knew that someone down the line, all of us, possibly somebody in our group, possibly somebody in our community, was going to get their scuba outfit on and check these old world buildings out and see if there's anything in these old world towns. And people have done this, and they say they didn't find much. Exactly how they wanted it. Destroyed and gone, erased from our timeline. Lake of the Ozarks, now a massive summer destination with over 3 million visitors each year. They're all just jumping into the water every year, the same water that is documented by the Union Electric and other historical summaries to have approximately 2,800 graves inside of it. Over 60 known cemeteries located in the areas that were flooded. And just like we saw in Turkey, in episode 120, I would guess that there are so many more than 2,800 bodies inside that water right now. I would guess that so many giants, just like we saw in Cahokia, as well as other places, so many old world individuals were found in this location and needed to be submerged inside that massive body of water, with 1,121 burial sites being identified with tombstones, meaning there could easily be 1,600 bodies or more, just like we said. There are many, many more, in my opinion, underneath that lake that were never relocated. And I would bet so many of these people visiting have no idea what's in that water. And I was about to book a trip and go there and maybe take a look around. But I'm glad I just double checked to see how many bodies are in that water before jumping in and having a good time. Glad I know what's under the water now. Someone commenting on the page says grandmother was born in Lynn Creek, saying who knows how many of his ancestors are still beneath the lake. His parents are buried at Rockdale Cemetery. Probably his grandparents too. So who's ready to jump in? Lake of the Ozarks is no longer just a random pool. It's exposed for what it is. It is a massive destruction site, ruining the old world and a huge burial ground with possibly thousands of people in the water. All documented, and there is no doubt about it. Music, beer, and parties with the deceased under their feet. Before we go even deeper, let's take a minute and thank all of our badge members, all of our Patreons, and every single subscriber. This community is getting bigger and bigger, and it's awesome. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for liking the episodes as well. We are on YouTube. We're on Rumble. We are on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify, if you're looking for even more content from us. All of the towns that we mentioned, they're not spread across the entire state of Missouri. They're all right next to each other, destroying all of their buildings before the flood and submerging the ruin, along with the burials. It is so weird and it's shocking. And this happened in the 1930s, not 500 years ago. Yet it was never talked about in History 101, 102, or the Donkeys Incorporated class on Tuesdays that told us all about the huts of the 1890s, the Oregon Trail, just taking it one step at a time through the rigid trails with no water and just living off of mama's chicken pot pie, heating it all up by rubbing 2 sticks together, all just to die from a disease in the 1800s. Hiking through ponds and making little Johnny push through the mud because Seabiscuit just couldn't get it up the hill. Finally, they would arrive and build a church castle in a year. Population of 14, and then submerging their castle churches 30 years later. No training, no power tools, and this was no problem. They would light their castle church on fire. Reminder, it's stone, and then they would call it a day. It all checks out, and the mainstream narrative is just on it. No. Here we found a photo of Lynn Creek pre-dam, showing the Camden County Bank building. Yet another building that looks so out of place for this time period. The book is called Before the Dam Water by T. Victor Jeffries. People just report seeing things all over the place. Massive stone structures all along the lake as you go through the massive coastline. Can you even imagine what is really under all that water? What was submerged in the 1930s before we ever got to investigate the area? Where the Lake of the Ozarks now covers approximately 2.35 billion square feet of surface area. Land that used to be churches, homes, and cemeteries, just like we said. How many chambers or tunnels? How many caves? How many crazy things would blow our mind today if it was still there? They were found in this location. How many artifacts are underneath that lake now? Where a 2020 archaeology review highlights that the Middle Osage River Valley lost much cultural context during dam construction. Well, of course it did. It's all under the water. We know this. and no formal archaeological investigations were ever conducted. The entire area was, of course, undocumented by the mainstream history. It was not studied. They destroyed everything they could, demolishing old world buildings, and didn't want us to ever see it. They didn't want any of us to ever question it again or wonder what was originally there. I do believe things are still there. It's a massive amount of land. We know they left the dead. We know they're under that water. Thousands of them. We know what they've done in Turkey, China, and of course Egypt. Submerging massive structures that do not belong in our timeline. Doing it all within the last 100 years in every single country. We know what they did in India, and of course 30 miles southeast of Las Vegas, the Hoover Dam. This is not the only dam in the world that has submerged old world buildings, towns, explaining it all away by saying they needed to turn a light bulb on. It's all so interesting, especially when we see and connect back to clip 56 and the Invalids Hotel, a healing hotel, we were told. In a stipulation, they were basically no longer allowed to call themselves doctors or medical men. They were no longer able to give medical advice. Not being able to call themselves doctors or call their advice medical advice must have been a lethal blow a little over a year later, where in my opinion, this was the end of this old world medicine, old world healing powers. But right here in the Ozarks, we see it yet again. The Welsh Hospital. It looks so out of place, and they clearly missed it when they were on their hunt of destruction. Also not submerged, a hospital or a resort. They can't seem to figure out what this was, because they didn't build it, in my opinion. They found it. Using it for all kinds of things, we were told. A campsite, power supplies, resorts, and even hospitals. We're in 1913, 18 years before the flood. We are told that this doctor bought this place. He believed that the spring water had healing properties. This location would be perfect to heal asthma, emphysema, and tuberculosis. And he said that it worked. They said that he was the builder of the structure. I don't believe that one bit. The master builder doctor of the 1913s in the middle of the forest. He was the finder. He found a health spa, an old world location that was dammed up so that the water would close off and force more air out through the cave opening into the hospital. A science and construction method that we do not use today. Not even close. A way to breathe the fresh air of the cave. It was so successful that it was known as a healing resort. Expanding the cabins and a campground. Times were so hard. And travel was so difficult to get to remote places like this apparently. Yet constructing this place with no problem at all. Getting all the stones to the site from a random unknown location. Into the middle of the trees in the forest. This was no problem at all for this guy. The shipping company, which is fully undocumented. The architect, this doctor of course. The construction team, who knows who it was. Dr. Dahl did it all. According to the mainstream narrative, he had it all covered. This guy shows up from Illinois. He finds a cave in the middle of nowhere, and he buys the land for $800. Dams the spring, and then builds a stone and concrete hospital into the side of the ridge without any equipment and no electricity, no contractors, and it's still standing today. Just a random Illinois doctor in 1913. He was just out there smacking that cliff perfectly to quarry that stone, creating foundations, and then building the water diverting dam to force cave air into the hospital. No construction crew ever documented, no blueprints. How about no? A much more logical explanation is that this guy found this structure and it was from the old world, and then he built the campsite around it. It was already there, and this is not the work of some random doctor with no construction background. This guy was not a builder. We are even told right here. This is all according to the National Park Service, an official website of the US government, by the way. So you can check it out yourself. But right here, and you can't make this up, it's located in the Ozarks, where it was rough and unpaved, making it difficult to even get to the location. I'm blown away. And the good doctor died in 1940. The family didn't even want the resort after he died. Where many people at the time believed in the healing qualities of the cave air and spring water, an incredible location, a massive vacation destination that millions of people don't fully understand today. And they're going to be swimming in it all summer. Old world structures below their feet in the dark, bodies buried below them, and they have no idea that they're there. A location that was completely destroyed, finding ruins all along the side of this water. This happened all over the world, destroying our true history. And did anybody see what the national park said? Right here at the bottom. Years earlier than 1913, a tuberculosis sanitarium had been built or found in Mammoth Cave, some 300 feet underground. And we are just getting started, I guarantee it.